Tonight, we get a first look at a new documentary on UAPs and what government officials may know about top secret programs on the subject. It features testimony from 34 high-ranking government officials.
We've had repeated instances of something operating in the airspace over restricted nuclear facilities, and it's not ours, and we don't know whose it is. That alone, just that statement alone, deserves inquiry, deserves attention.
Rubio and I are aligned 100%. We do not find it acceptable to have unknown aerial phenomenon.
It's just not an issue, at least as of yet, in this country that lends itself to some sort of partisan or ideological divide.
I spent 20 years working in the U.S. intelligence community.
I've worked on highly classified UAP programs for the government as a senior scientist.
We have been discovered by an intelligence from some other part of the universe. They are here. This is real. It's happening now.
If I were a species from somewhere else who saw how we were coming up this curve of, atomic energy and nuclear energy, and then began to realize what it takes to do their kind of technologies with warping time and warping space and so on, I could imagine that could be seen as a threat to another species, because they would recognize that, well, it's only a matter of time and they're going to be doing what we're doing, and then we're going to have to deal with them.
So it doesn't surprise me that their highest priority would be to identify what threats they might face and learn everything about them. This pattern of activity seems to me utterly logical. It seems to me to be an extension of the evolutionary process that governs life writ large as we know it, which is self-preservation is number one. This is the biggest discovery in human history. It has so many beneficial impacts, including clean energy.
This one breakthrough can be the key to interstellar travel.
We can talk more about teleportation.
How can we use these technologies and all the capabilities that might come from it, not to fight a war, but to increase our standard of living?
If the capabilities that exist become known to the world, it might very well be that it is to the benefit of mankind.
Working on this for more than 3 years, and you say this is going to be a groundbreaking documentary.
Yeah. I interviewed 34 extremely high-level military, government intelligence officials who all have direct knowledge of this issue. Much of what they know is classified, but in this film they break their silence on what they can lawfully disclose.
I mean, there's a lot of skepticism, as you know. There's a lot of stigmatism about this issue. But as you're talking to all of these people and you're building these blocks for this movie, you get to the point where it's not a matter of if it's happening or if it's real?
Yeah, so every single person I interviewed made it very clear that it was no longer a question of whether this was a real situation. It's a very real situation.
Humanity is not the only intelligence in the universe.
Humanity is not the only intelligent species.
We are absolutely not alone.
Non-human intelligence exists.
UAPs are real, they're here, and they're not human.
The questions now are, who's controlling these UAP? Where do they come from? And what is their intention?
This sounds, it's hard for everybody to digest. And an 80-year cover-up with a country that keeps it deep and dark and it hasn't gotten out. That's the tough part for people to buy into.
Yeah, so a number of the officials in my film make it clear that a long time ago, this topic was moved away from congressional oversight and even away from the oversight of the President of the United States. And there are certain elements within our government and within defense contractors that have really been gatekeeping the knowledge about this topic.
And there are people in this film who are respected in their fields who say they have seen these craft and have seen the recovered non-human bodies.
I have seen with my own eyes non-human craft and non-human beings.
They go on the record about the fact that there have been crashed craft that have been recovered. In some cases, there's been non-human bodies in these craft, they claim. And these are people who are putting their reputation and their names on the line. Often you hear people say, show me the evidence. In my opinion, 34 extremely credible people putting their name and reputation on the line is the best evidence, because We live at a time where you can put a video or a photo out and half the people out there will say it's fake or
because
AI.
Of AI and everything else. The title is Age of Disclosure, and do you think that this is going to start something bigger? The premise of this is that there is a race to reverse engineer what has been recovered by different countries, essentially competing against one another.
Yeah. So one of the big reveals in the film that a number of the interview subjects share is that elements of the U.S. government are in a high-stakes secret Cold War race with adversarial nations like China and Russia to reverse engineer technology of non-human origin.
The first country that cracks the code on this technology will be the leader for years to come.
China has established its own version of a UAP task force.
You think for a second that they wouldn't consider using it to achieve their ends of domination?
This is similar to the Manhattan Project. This is the atomic weapon on steroids.
We won the atomic race, and we used the bomb to end World War II, and we became the definitive superpower for the next 100 years as a result. The fear here is that if another nation wins this race, it could really change the lay of the land in terms of power.
But for the people who are still skeptical, still can't get their head around it, they're going to watch this, maybe they'll have their eyes opened, but many might ask, why now? Why is it happening now?
So for a very long time, the public, Congress, and even the president have been kept out of the loop on this subject. In the last few years, senior members of Congress, senior members of the administration, thanks to whistleblowers, have found out what's been going on. And they are now in pursuit of the truth for themselves and for the American people.
Even presidents have been operating on a need-to-know basis, but that begins to ramp out of control.
It's not acceptable to have secret parts of government that no one ever sees.
I think it's only a matter of time at this point before we have a sitting president step to the microphone and have the biggest moment a leader can possibly have, which is telling all of humanity that we're not alone in the universe and that the United States intends to lead the way.
Could it be President Trump?
I think it could be. I think Rubio is one of the most informed people in the United States with regard to this topic. And right now, he's our Secretary of State and our National Security Advisor. And I know that he considers this an extremely important topic.
If you were to say, what's one thing that people take out of this hour, obviously the bombshell of what all of these people are saying, but where do you think it goes from here? There's such a stigma around talking about this, and people joke about it. This seems like it takes it to a different place.
In our country, we have this very antiquated stigma around the topic. If someone said, hey, there's this constant terrorist threat, terrorists are penetrating the airspace over nuclear weapon sites, who would laugh at that? It makes no sense.
The American people are ready to receive the truth.
Humanity is not the only intelligence in the universe.
Humanity is not the only intelligent species.
We are absolutely not alone.
Non-human intelligence exists.
UAPs are real, they're here, and they're not human. I spent 25 years as a senior official with the CIA.
I worked on highly classified UAP programs.
28 years as an astrophysicist.
I served as the 4th Director of National Intelligence.
Director of Aviation Security in the National Security Council.
A one-star admiral after 32 years of service.
People that come forward with this, I feel like they've taken their life in their own hands.
I was recruited to a highly sensitive government program that investigated unidentified aerial phenomenon.
For over 16 years, on behalf of the U.S. government, I worked as a senior intelligence official on the unidentified aerial phenomenon topic.
We learned that the U.S. government was involved in a long-running secret war with other nations to collect and reverse engineer vehicles not made by humans.
I have seen with my own eyes non-human craft and non-human beings.
So look at that thing. It's rotating. There's a whole fleet of them.
The first country that cracks the code on this technology will be the leader for years to come.
China has established its own version of a UAP task force.
You think for a second that they wouldn't consider using it to achieve their ends of domination?
This is similar to the Manhattan Project. This is the atomic weapon on steroids.
This is so secret, very, very few people in our entire government have been allowed access to it.
Even presidents have been operating on a need-to-know basis. But that begins to ramp out of control.
It's not acceptable to have secret parts of government that no one ever sees.
You better be careful about a government that doesn't trust its people, because there's no telling what they'll pull on you.
This is the biggest discovery in human history.
You had information being locked away that could change the trajectory for species.
It has so many beneficial impacts, including clean energy.
We should have disclosure today. We should have disclosure tomorrow. The time has come.
What else you want to know?
If you enjoyed today's video on Anonymous Official, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thanks for watching and sticking with us.